history are worth more than the European history. We must be retrained, but this is possible in my opinion. Solidarity and reciprocity are heterogeneous terms, because when you speak of solidarity, you speak of the solidarity amongst the citizens of the same state, of the same country. Reciprocity concerns instead the relationships between states and amongst the states, and the use made by these states of religion. It is easy to say they can build their mosques here, but we cannot build their Catholic churches, our Catholic churches there. I have a very simple reply to make. If democratic regimes were based on the principle of reciprocity, they would not exist, period. I do apologize, but I have to leave.
Dwie sprawy. Pierwsza.
I'm interested in two things, or two aspects. Mutuality is one of them. And I think what stems from this debate is that there are people who come from the Christian culture here that are debating tonight, or they are convinced that we are guilty, and that is why we're not even debating or reflecting over the context of this culture. I'm thinking, of course, of the international context. I think it is tactless and unkind not to say something about the lack of tolerance in the world of Islam. I received an invitation from France to enter the International League of Defending Political Prisoners in Israel. And I replied, yes, I'd be willing to enter this league, but in the Middle East, but not only in Israel, in Syria and Iran and in Iraq, because I do not think that those other prisons are more humanitarian than those in Israel. Now, I think that Christian culture should actually eliminate this type of guilt. I've never had any arguments against the preamble specifying the Christian roots of Europe, but the French explained it to me that it means that we're going to stage a war within France, and the sense was the following. Today, laïcité, which has always been the most favorite slogan of the French left, has become a slogan of the French right today, especially in the context of the Islamic fundamentalism. So my final remark is the following. Well, I'd like to relate what Charles Taylor has said. I think there is no democracy with democratic people, and there are no Democrats without a conviction that solidarity is a key value in interpersonal relations. But the problem that I cannot resolve is the following. Where is the division line? Where are the limits of solidarity? Can I be in solidarity with the fascists? Can I exercise solidarity with terrorists? Where is this borderline? Where is the demarcation line? I cannot answer this question myself, and I very often ask this question back in Poland. How can I exercise solidarity with groups of people who consider me a man who is accused of betrayal, are being accused of having murdered 96 people in Smolensk, again together with the Polish Prime Minister, etc., etc. So, having asked that question, I'd like to express my solidarity with what Charles Taylor has said. Thank you.
Grazie. Professor Reale.
Professor Reale. I'll be answering the question that was posed. Religious plurality is essential. Today, what is happening is that very many who maintain this approach do this not believing in any religion. And this is what I would say. Napoleon's life and a civil servant's life value is the same. So in order to understand the other, you must share opinions. Mr. Amato said that in the past we dealt and we listened to others because we had a stronger identity. Now we haven't got this strong identity. For instance, the Pope had the following stance: I strongly believe in my religion, but he believes in his own. Therefore, the dialogue is taking place from two very sound perspectives. What is terrible today is that one or the other does not believe at all. Heidegger would say, Handeweg, leave this alone, because unless you have a slight experience of what is religious, you can't know what it is about. I cannot explain what is music to a deaf person. I cannot explain to a blind person what is beautiful color. This is the relationship between different religions. It can take place only when the two participants share a strong religion, so have a strong belief in their own religion. It must be a relationship between souls, and this is lacking today. We no longer speak. What we hear is background noise. It is not an individual speaking to another individual, a soul speaking to another soul at all levels. This is my answer.
Yes, I mean, there's so much to answer. Can I quickly take up Paolo Costa's question? I mean, I think it's a very important one. There is a model of pluralism which comes from the United States, but also from other countries, where there was plurality of denominations. And then you get the situation in a country like this one, or France, and so on, where it's totally different. However, what I think we can see happening is a similar development, the development of a world in which more and more people are seeking in religion, are seeking in spirituality, and they don't know exactly where they stand. So, even in totally mono-confessional societies, there is developing that multiplicity. Now, the case in Poland is clear that that's happening. And that means that there are lots of Poles who are not atheists. They're not saying absolutely no, but they are looking at different ways of living their religion, and they're very, very leery of the way the church is operating. Incidentally, this is so familiar to me because I come from Quebec, and we had a church up until 1960 that overplayed its hand like that, and now the churches are totally empty. So, I mean, there's maybe a lesson in history there. But this similar kind of phenomenon is happening, and the church, that is the majority church in these societies, has to learn to deal with that, has to learn to deal with seekers, people who are asking questions, who don't know exactly how far they want to go. And that is what the present hierarchy of the Catholic Church, particularly in Europe, particularly in the Vatican, is appalling at that. They don't understand a thing about what it is to deal with that. And that is a really worrying thing. But this leads me on to the last remark of Professor Reale. I mean, I think that I'm very much for this dialogue, soul to soul. I'm very much for this dialogue between religions. I'm very much for this dialogue between religion and non-religion. But if you start off saying the other guy's tone deaf. I mean, this is, Weber made the big move here.